Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rahakwadash. I want to give the honor to the apostle and the elders of revealed soul taught us 100% truth according to the spirits of be Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai. Peace and blessing to the hopeful elect of the portion of this word, to the four corners of the earth, to sincerity. Peace and blessing to your hopeful believers out there, which are also part of the elect, to Yahweh Shalom. And once again, I want to say, call Allah, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai. Hashem HaKodash, give me the HaKodash, the Holy Spirit, to do the lesson on today. Lord, in Ephesians 11, of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. So I got a video to the Pound Spirit of Yahweh Yahushai, and it was inspired by the big bro, Elder Ariala, down here in Dallas. He made a video titled "Being Negative versus the House of Mourning," and it was a beautiful, heavy video, man. You should go listen to it. And he's pretty much touching on what does it mean to be in a house of mourning, and the difference between being in a house of mourning and constantly having a negative woe is me mindset. And it made me think about, because he even said it, he said having a kingdom mindset, and it made me think about Ephesians, because when you read the book Ephesians, specifically Ephesians chapter 6, it tells you about that armor of the Lord and how it's going to help you quench the fiery darts of the wicked. It's going to help you quench those particular things that Satan throw at you, because we do know when you read about it, that Satan, he's agitating the minds of the men of the Lord. You see, he's sifting the minds of the men of the Lord. Satan is a mechanism to use on the men of the Lord to pretty much teach them and get us pretty much reps with using the armor of the Lord. But if you're not utilizing the armor of Yahweh Bashmawashai, then you're not going to be able to stand. And I just want to go into the aspect of that helmet of salvation that I read about in Ephesians, because that helmet of salvation is essentially being kingdom minded, not being in a woe is me aspect. Because the elder went into beautiful points pointing out how we are supposed to have a different perspective when it comes to these particular things. We're not supposed to have a perspective of a fight or flight mindset. That's not the type of perspective we're supposed to be having. We're supposed to have, we know the end. Proverbs 29 verses 18 says what? It says that where there's no vision, the people perish. We have the vision, so our perspective should be different, because we understand that all roads lead to the kingdom of heaven. At the end of the day, the establishment of the kingdom of the Israelites, and that's what we're striving for. We have not a continuous city here, but we seek one to come. You see, so I just want to get this real quick. I want to read this Ephesians 6. The brother's driving, but I had these scriptures. I already pulled these scriptures up beforehand, so it wouldn't be necessarily an aspect of like, damn, I gotta well, as a matter of fact, I'm finna park and get gas. But I already had the scriptures pulled up, so I didn't have to look them up as I was driving, right? Now I'm gonna read it. This is Ephesians chapter 6, right? Ephesians 6. The point is in 13, but I'm trying to see if I can start up, get some more meat off the bone, or bring forth more edification. Right, I'll start at 10. This is Ephesians chapter 6 for 10. It says, "Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, and in the power of his might." You got to believe in the Lord's saving power, man. You got to believe in the Lord's saving power. The Lord's hand is not shortened that it cannot save. So you got to believe in the Lord's saving power, right? Keep going. Verse 11 says, "Put on the whole armor of Yahweh Bashmawashai, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil." Right? And let me get that word wiles for y'all. So I'm going to go to the Blue Letter Bible, because I was in Google. Ephesians 6. Damn, wrong chapter. Ephesians 6, verse 10. 11. I'm reading again. It says, put on the whole armor of Yahweh Shai, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. And in the NLT it says, put on all of God's armor, Yahweh Shai, so that you will be able to stand firm against all the strategies of the devil. You see? And when you get that word wiles, right? And it says wiles in the Greek. I'm gonna play it, but I think it's methodia.
Strong's G 3180, methodia.
So methodia, and it says cunning arts, deceit, craft, trickery. You see? So you put on the whole armor of the Lord so we're able to withstand those tricks, these gimmicks, these lies, this cunningness that the devil tries to act upon our mind. You know? Because devil just mean deceiver, because that's what Esau does. Because the elder went into it, he said Esau pretty much capitalizes off of you being through. You know, you got to watch that video, man. It went into it heavy, and we are at the forefront of being victims of that. But if we maintain and keep the armor of Yahweh upon us, we won't fall to it. As scripture say, any weapon formed against them shall not prosper. You see? So reading that right now, let's get verse 4:12. It says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Because at the end of the day, it's a spiritual battle. So this is not talking about no physical armor that you got to go buy. No, this is a spiritual armor. You know? Verse 13, wherefore take unto you the whole armor of Yahweh Shai, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand. You see? And that's what we want. We want to be able to stand in the evil day. Because if we're able to stand in the evil day, essentially, hey, we're going to receive salvation. Right? Now, I'm going to read two of them. Right? I'm going to read two of them. So, it's like it, verses 17, right? So, this is Ephesians chapter 6, jumping down to verse 16. It says, above all, taking the shield of faith. So, the greatest mechanism is faith. Wherewith ye shall be quenched. It's like, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. And take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of Yahweh Shai. Praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, watching thereunto with all perseverance and all supplication for all saints. You see? So the chief thing is to have the faith. And the faith leads unto that helmet of salvation, because essentially, what is that helmet of salvation? Being kingdom-minded. But you can't be kingdom-minded if your faith is not intact, man. Because we haven't seen the kingdom, but we believe through the Spirit, through the power of Spirit of Yahweh Shai, the faith that He's bestowed upon us, that the kingdom is with us. You see? We believe that He's going to return and establish the righteous rulership. Despite what we see going on in the world, the particular things we go in through our day-to-day lives, you see? So being kingdom-minded is a part of slugging. I just see the stroke of it through my mouth. But being kingdom-minded aids in us receiving salvation. Because if you constantly focus upon the hell, how the hell are you going to endure? How the hell are you going to endure, man? This flesh prioritizes hell, prioritizes negative emotions. But we had a spirit of Yahweh try to combat the flesh. You see? So we got to be kingdom-minded if we want to receive salvation. That's what Yahweh Shai. That's what he was. Let me read it. This is Romans chapter 15, verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime was written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. You look throughout the scriptures, right? You have men that died in the faith because they was kingdom-minded. They didn't forsake their faith. They didn't let go
of that helmet of salvation because they was kingdom minded. You see? Yahweh Shai. All particular men throughout these scriptures. Let me get that. This is Hebrews chapter 11, right? Let me see. These all died in faith. And it gives you a list. Sarah, Abraham, Enoch, Noah, Abel. Let me see. Noah. Okay, I said Noah. Yeah. It says, these all died in faith, not having received the promise, but having seen them afar off, and were persuaded of them, and embraced them, and confessed that they were strangers and pilgrims on the earth. You see? So they was kingdom minded. Through their faith, they was kingdom minded, and that's what we need to receive salvation. That was going to have you be a martyr for Yahweh Shai. You're not going to be able to be a martyr for Yahweh Shai, magnifying and being focused, you know what I'm saying, and just dwelling, submerging in them negative effects. Them negative emotions. That bitterness, being in that woe is me spirit. That's not how Yahweh Shai got through it. Yahweh Shai wasn't on I'm through. No, Yahweh Shai took it on the chin. And he looked forward to what? That kingdom being established. He was king. He had the helmet of salvation, the epitome example. When he got put in his hour of temptation, when he got put through particular trials, he looked towards the scriptures for comfort. And what? He was around a brother, but also he made sure that he had a mindset. His perspective was different. His perspective wasn't a perspective of a nigga. That's what our example Yahweh Shai did. And we got to do the same if we want to get to that spot. John 17:4, he said he did the work of the Lord. He finished it. Could he restore it? We want to get to that point. We want the Lord to restore us back to the glory we had in the beginning. We want the kingdom of heaven. But that's not going to be able to happen if you don't take on the whole armor of the Lord. And essentially, we go into the aspect of having that helmet of salvation. You see? I want to get this. This is that's the mindset of the house of David, man. This is Acts chapter 1. Right? Alright, let me go up. It's in here. Nah, let me go up a little bit. Yep, this is Acts chapter 1 verse 6. It says, when they therefore were come together, they asked him, saying, Lord, wilt thou at this time restore the kingdom to Israel? What is this saying? This is telling you straight up that they was focused upon the kingdom. They weren't worried about the particular things. They weren't worried about the hell. They was focused on the kingdom. They was kingdom orientated, kingdom minded. See, if you don't put on the whole armor of the Lord, you ain't gonna be able to make it. How you gonna be able to receive salvation? You're not kingdom minded. How are you gonna get the reward if you're not focused upon it, man? That what brings us comfort. And I'm ending off with this. This is Colossians chapter 3 verse 3 2. It says, set your affections on things above, not on things on earth. You see? You gotta set your affections on things above, man. That's how we gonna receive salvation. Setting our affections on things above and not on things upon this earth, man. And when you like the elder went into beautifully in that video, when you going through this hell and you start, that bitterness hurt, you start to react like a heathen. You start to take on that mindset of being like an Epicurean from Right. And what did the Epicureans, what was they about? It was about essentially fulfilling the lust of their pleasures. Fulfilling the lust of their flesh. It was all about being comfortable. And what's comfortable to the flesh is not essential to serve Yahweh Shai. You read about that in John. Even I think it's in Romans. It says that they that are in the flesh cannot please the Lord. Why? Because you start to indulge in being a nigga pretty much. And you don't want that to happen, man. So Lord willing, this is edified through the power and spirit of Yahweh Shai and feed you lemon sheep of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. I'm going to end it up by saying, call Allah, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Chakwadash. I'm going to give the honor to the apostles and the elders of the millstone. To y'all, I'm going to say shalom.